Hiya Greenbeards and Greybeards, this is 3 Wilmay, and today I'm starting a new series on an underrated shooter that I only heard about around early Jan this year from a YouTuber called Fleekazoid, so shout out to him. The reason I'm making this video is purely out of love and appreciation to Ghost Ship Games' amazingly simple, survival, situational, co-op shooter that is Deep Rock Galactic. This video series is about exploring different ideas that can improve specific game mechanics as well as talking about specific problems of this simple fun game. These ideas are in no way demanding Ghost Ship Games to make these changes, but simply my way of helping with the creative minds behind the scenes, and to pay back what this game has given me that another giant game that I was addicted to for a decade could not replicate. A fun game that stays fun and keeps things fresh. Today's topic is a problem that has been annoying me since the first time I played DRG, the Gunner Zipline. The Gunner was my first class that I played the most when starting out, with hours of fun shooting his minigun on hordes and, in my opinion, playing with the best set of grenades. At first, the Gunner's traversal tool, the Zipline, was fun to use for traversing the many regions of the bug-infested planet of Hoxus. Then I played the other classes along the way, and for a while, I naturally found the Zipline to be so boring in comparison. The power drills have very little limits on what to destroy, the platforms can be a bridge or a replacement for destroyed terrain, and the Scout's grappling hook is the closest we are ever going to get to a first-person Spider-Man. Some may say that the zipline can be accessed by other dwarves, which makes up for the utility for the team, but that depends entirely on how well placed the zipline is, not to mention the limited ammo. Problems with the current zipline. When comparing all the traversal tools of the dwarves, in my opinion and personal observation, the Gunner's zipline seems to be the least used in almost every mission. The Driller's power drills is notably the most useful in all missions, especially in point extraction, escort duty, on-site refinery, egg hunt, and the amazing option of making new paths for escape routes or emergency bunkies. The Engineer's platforms can be used to make bridges, cover up holes for safety, and reduce fall damage in emergency situations. You can even use a perk to scare away bugs from crawling on the platforms to give better survivability and a source of crowd control to make enemies walk in certain areas. The Scout's grappling hook is more selfish by design, but does help the Scout get better positioning to kill high priority enemies, travel quicker to higher locations and tight spots, and also give better, if not the best, survivability in tough scenarios. With all these traversal tools in mind, you would think that the Gunner's traversal tools should have similar characteristics, such as survivability and utility, but ends up being less useful in most situations. For example, I'm going to present 3 different scenarios of traveling from A to B with an obstacle. In the first scenario, there is a flat terrain with a big gap in front of you that you can't possibly jump over, and a few enemies both land and air that are chasing you from behind. A driller cannot jump but can use his power drills to nearby walls or drill a downward slope and zone out enemies with his main weapon or throw a C4 behind him. The Engineer can easily make a simply extended platform ledge or an entire bridge to make the jump, as well as set up turrets and fight off enemies or shoot a platform at the bottom of the gap, assuming you have the reduced fall damage perk and jumping onto it for a nice escape. The Scout can quite easily grapple hook across and shoot a flare at a location that nobody asked for. With the Gunner, you have a few options that limit his solo survivability: his shield and his zipline. The shield is great for saving teammates and even scaring off enemies to give more time to think of your next move. However, to get over our first scenario, our only option seems to be the zipline. Assuming the big gap is perfectly leveled, the zipline can be used to cross great distances, but the speed will ultimately hurt the survivability against multiple air targets when they shoot you. You can outrun and outwalk the speed of someone on a zipline, which is realistic, I think? As anyone who has played the game for a long time, getting hit by enemy projectiles while on the zipline will cause you to fall and receive damage, based on how fast you fall due to the mechanics of DRG's fall damage based on speed and not distance. This would be forgiving if they had a less fall damage perk as a standard passive perk for the zipline, maybe even unique to the Gunner to give it an incentive for Gunners to use the zipline more, but you have to choose between less fall damage or going on and down a zipline at fast speed, which neither help in general scenarios. Now I know some of you are saying that this is a weak point to make since you can increase the speed when going down a zipline, but I would argue that this doesn't make up for the limited ammo of the zipline gun and the fact that I'm required to be on high ground in order for the zipline to maximize its utility, making the choice very limiting to specific situations. The second scenario is comparing the traversal tools when going up rocky slopes that you can't jump on or climb on while enemies are behind you, again, both land and air types. The driller can make a new path on the rough slope or dig through the sides of it. The engineer can make a few well-placed platforms to jump on, whether it be a single platform or a quick set of stairs, and the scout can just zoom to the top and shoot the Tri-Jaw 12 times with a flare gun to the face. But the gunner has to throw down a shield, shoot his zipline with a limited angle range by the way, which makes steep scenarios impossible to shoot at, and hope there's only 2 air-type enemies chasing you, and no slashers ready to slow you down. Not to mention looking in absolute fear when the enemies are patiently waiting for you at the other side of the zipline, wondering what took you so long. We can all agree that this is objectively not a good traversal tool or even a viable option in this scenario either. Granted, when the third scenario of going down a hill slope with a big gap and or steep ground, the gunner comes second best in terms of survivability and utility, first being the scout, as it can be very useful for teammates who don't have a better option, and can very much save time and create enough distance to adapt to the next obstacle to their main objective. But it all depends if you shoot a good zipline. You can make a few mistakes with the power drills due to the decent ammo capacity depending on perks, the same reason with platforms, and no matter how many times you mess up a pull from the grappling hook, you have unlimited uses. Like many scout pros, they will get better at judging what locations to shoot and timing when to let go in order to get the right trajectory and less fall damage. But the zipline needs to be accurate or it's a waste that definitely punishes you the most out of all traversal tools due to its limited ammo. Another unique problem that the zipline has compared to the traversal tools is that it can't be destroyed or reorganized again. To simplify the problems, here are the main issues. Number 1, limited utility and survivability. Number 2, limited choice to create or destroy. Number 3, punishes you for a bad shot. I have a few ideas ranked from the best they could come up with to some simple additions. Here they are. Idea number 1. Make the ziplines with multiple points, with each point giving a small boost. Instead of shooting at a wall, we create placemakers with limited range of length, like building the pipelines in on-site refinery or power cables of the fuel cells or rock crackers. With the first shot you can shoot anywhere, as it will simply be the starting point, like starting a pipeline on the main refinery. We can then use the mouse to control the direction of the zipline and the Q key to extend at a 1 meter radius or hold it to extend faster, like holding down the buy and sell buttons at the mineral trade, up to 10 meters max each point. The E key does the opposite by contrasting 1 meter. Whichever measurement you set before at the first section is the same in the next section to maintain a certain flow to the building process. Example, your first section is 10 meters, so it will automatically be 10 meters for the next section, which can be adjusted accordingly. After finishing the 2, 3, or 4 points, the zipline is created automatically in quick succession. When in the air, 4 thin wires shoot from the point and stabilize the point in the desired position. The idea for this type of traversal makes it 10 times more useful than the current one, while being both fun and strategical. When going back to the first scenario, the zipline can go mostly anywhere, but you need to create a small A to B line to create a boost as mentioned earlier. The only limitation I would put is that you need to see what terrain you are placing the points, and a limited shooting distance like the grappling hook. Any terrain you can't see is not possible to place, kinda like the power cable of the rock crackers or the fuel cells. Some might say that this will take longer to set up, but I would argue that it depends on the kind of track you want to make, whether simple or complex, as well as getting used to the setup, as we all did with the pipelines on-site refinery or the power cables of the fuel cells. Idea number 2. Make the zipline grindable with the similar physics mechanics as the pipeline, but based on the speed of the dwarf going on the zipline. I noticed that getting on the current zipline is noticeably anticlimactic, as it automatically slows you down when you attach to the zipline. A simple change of carrying the same speed of your walk, run, or even the dash ability from the active perks can be a simple, fun fix. Much like the grindable pipelines, going up the line is slow, but going down is fast. This is a much more simpler solution which can maintain the same simple A to B zipline design, or a complex A to D roller coaster. The idea is similar to the current zipline, and I took the optional way of going fast downwards and to be more automatic. I still don't fully understand why they made it an option to go faster when going down rather than just letting the physics determine the speed. Idea number 3. The zipline can carry and activate special tools. This idea was mostly inspired due to the fact that the zipline is automated and makes one vulnerable to projectiles, and we all know the feeling. The zipline can magnetically add on devices such as a gunner's shield, the engineer's turrets, the driller's C4/satchel charge, and the flares of a scout, or it lights up the whole zipline. This feature adds so much utility to scenarios, like putting on a shield on the zipline so that 1 to 4 dwarves, depending on the perks you bought for the shield, can make a quick escape and be protected from danger until they reach the end of the zipline. Having turrets and bombs attached can get creative with open areas, as well as narrow tunnels for a more focused clear out, or to troll. It's up to you, I guess. You know, give it a better option for the driller just to put C4 and just, you know, let it blow up when the scout gets nearby. Just a few ideas though. Don't go too crazy. Idea number 4. To fix the ammo problem, the ammo is measured in lengths instead of collected ammo. My reasoning for this is that creating a small zipline shouldn't be the same cost as shooting a long one. A driller's power drills uses fuel whether you use it on terrain, enemies, or in open air. It all depends on when you pull the trigger, not what you use it on. As stated before, making a bad shot will cost quite a bit for a traversal tool, and changing it to measurements can fix this specific problem. Throughout a mission, let's say you have the total length of 125 meters in-game. Because they are dwarves, I won't assume that they are human meters, or whatever the measurement this game uses. You can use several small ziplines of, let's say, 10 meters from the beginning to end. This adds up to roughly 12.5 ziplines. In another scenario, you might just shoot 4 long ziplines, each around 25 to 30 meters. It adds a skill expression on what ziplines are most effective in different biome levels. Example, the sand levels are great for long ziplines, while the magma levels are more short to medium ziplines due to the different generated structures. These are all the ideas I can think of, but one small problem that does affect how OP the zipline is going to be, and that is, how steep can we make this zipline? I don't think making it shoot at any direction or shooting 360 degrees will make things simple, but definitely a wider angle than 8 fucking degrees. I honestly don't know what the new limit would be, or just to stick with the limited angle we have now. Let me know in the comments what you think should be used. Anywho, back to the video. With the ideas I've presented, I will combine them to make the new and improved ziplines. I'll give you 3 versions. Version 1. We combine idea number 1 and 3. Much like the current zipline, we use a zipline gun to shoot either a 2-point, 3-point, or 4-point zipline. As stated before, you have the Q and E key to control the length of the zipline for each point. This version keeps it flexible for all situations, but requires getting used to the controls and overall setup. Version number 2. We combine idea 2 and 4. This is the simplest version with some utility and roughly the same mechanics as the current one, but the choice to save ammo depends on usage and how efficient and adaptable you make your ziplines. Version number 3. We combine all the ideas with the idea number 2 being optional when coming from above and a standard zipline when coming from below. The boost of the points only works in the direction of the way it was fired, so this plays with the dynamic of how to use and place the ziplines, giving 2 options. When going on a decline, going on top of the zipline is more loose, making it the slightly faster option compared to the conventional way. The opposite is true when going on the zipline on an incline angle, meaning the conventional way is more faster than riding it on top. This helps with the scenarios I mentioned earlier, giving more choice and ideas on helping your team and keeping the gunner the way he is. You can even use the gunner's shield to give more time to set up the complex zipline in desperate situations, or just to make a zipline for their doom, your choice. I mean, that's what makes it fun. I also had an idea to incentivize teamwork by adding the possibility of a penalty by making dwarves that bump into each other to significantly slow them down or bounce them faster on the zipline to give a chaotic gamble option, but also to help coordinate those who work together as a team. This can go really either way, but it's just an idea. Or we can just keep what we have on the current zipline. And that's it. That's all I've got today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was entertaining for you to watch, and if you can please like and subscribe, it will really help me out. I'm trying to do more variety content, but I don't know where to start, so if you guys got some DRG suggestions or other games to check out, or even just to continue this series, let me know in the comment section below. Till then, have a great day. Rock and stone, bros. How the fuck did the scout's arm not it's not massive, you know? Like, shouldn't that be a thing? Like the scout's arm is like really big, one big right arm. He only uses his right hand. I'm just saying, you know. I mean, the gunner has 2 hands, you know. He might have strong forearms, but you know, the driller has strong forearms. The engineer, you know, maybe the smallest of forearms because he's the smart one. But you know, Scout only uses one hand. He doesn't want to use two. You know, just saying.